I Was a Soldier is a 1971 short documentary film by Krzysztof Kieślowski, a film that is not really fully representative of his early film career, perhaps for a reason that it was made within a different studio than he was usually working for. Throughout the 1970s, he will be an employee of the Warsaw-based film studios on the Chełmska Street. But actually, I Was a Soldier was made for another state studio, which was called Czołówka. The studio was basically owned by the Polish army, and the films made for Czołówka were films for Polish army purposes. The Czołówka studio asked Kieślowski, who was then only nominally an assistant in the main film studio on Chełmska, to make a film about soldiers, about veterans who lost their eyesight. And the film is really interesting in that it consists with a series of interviews with the soldiers who are telling Kieślowski the stories of how they lost their eyesight, what do they remember about the war. You need really to remember that the movie is shot basically 25 years after the war was ended, so it was still a recent memory. So the men we see on the screen are sharing their remembrances of the war, but also they are sharing the affliction of having lost their eyesight. And the truly brilliant idea that Kieślowski had was to ask them a very simple but brilliant question. Do you see when you are dreaming? And suddenly their faces light up and they share the experience of still having their eyesight within their dreams. It's a characteristic device for Kieślowski to make a character speak of a life that's not only experienced, but of a life that's also dreamt about. We can see a tiny fraction, perhaps, of Veronique in Double Life of Veronique in these moments when people on the screen are telling us about the other life that they are having when they are asleep. It's a magical moment, and in a way it's a magical film which is still very moving, and it's also a perfect companion piece to another short documentary that Kieślowski made at about the same time called X-Ray, which is devoted to tuberculosis sanatorium. So here is I Was a Soldier, a film that also expresses Kieślowski's interest in the war experience that was as much explored in the 8th episode of Decalogue and in the film Photograph from 1968.